Ross Allen Bachelder is a writer, artist, and musician who never sits still. He's written 3 books, and his 4th book, Growing Up Blue Collar, An Uncertain Beginning, is due out later this month. Ross is sitting down today to talk briefly about what's in the book and what motivated him to write it. Watch to the end and he will tell you the remarkable list of unusual pets his family had when he was growing up. Ross, set the stage for us. Where were you born, and what defined your family as blue collar?
I was born in Jackson, Michigan, which is very much south central, 80 miles from Detroit. But when I was just 6 years old and it was time for me to go to kindergarten, my family suddenly decided to move out into what people affectionately called the boonies, to the fringes of a tiny town named Rives Junction, Michigan.
What was the neighborhood in Rives Junction like?
Well, it was very country, a lot of open cornfields surrounding us, farms here and there within a quarter to a half a mile of us, farms that I frequently visited as a child and really enjoyed, but we were not farmers at all. The house I grew up in was really very rudimentary. The bedrooms weren't finished. For quite a while, we didn't have any hot water and had to carry water in buckets. So there's definitely a blue-collar flavor to the circumstances we found ourselves in.
Your schooling in rural southern Michigan was unusual, wasn't it?
It was, and I don't think I ever thought it was unusual. I just reported to a one-room school that was actually built by a relative many decades ago, 2 generations ago actually. And typically in the first one, called Cole School, and that's the name of some of our relatives, there would be about 20 to 25 people, but what made it truly unique was those 25 kids were from grade K through 12 in one classroom.
Wow.
Which had an enormous effect on the person I've become. I think that I have a kind of I hope, a positive reputation as a friendly, caring, gregarious person, and really that was the story of what it was like to be in a tiny school and have to get along together. We were really very much a family.
So what motivated you to write about your experience of growing up in a blue-collar family?
Well, I just have an analytical side. Mostly I'm a dreamer and a romantic, without question. That's my English literature background coming through. But that analytical side made me begin to think a great deal about how being in a blue-collar family from the very beginning has affected who I've become today. So I got deeper and deeper in my spare time thinking about why I am the person I am today and what my blue-collar heritage has to do with it. One of the biggest problems I confronted as I got deeper and deeper into college was that people were busy actively labeling me as either destined for success or just another blue-collar student from a school that couldn't cut it compared to the school 7 miles down the road, the University of Michigan. My experience was that a remarkably high percentage of my fellow students were suffering through the same identity crisis as I was. Am I blue-collar? Am I automatically inferior because I didn't go to the University of Michigan and I ended up in EMU, which is proudly thought of among the average people as a blue-collar college? I was obsessed with the idea that I was being told that I was being labeled and didn't see any need to be labeled.
And that continues after college for everyone, doesn't it?
It continued, yes, and a lot of people wouldn't talk about it as honestly as I have, and I've always been honest about that. I'm so glad I had a chance to write a book in which I talked about the confusion over identity and the resentment for being labeled automatically as intellectually inferior because I went to a blue-collar university.
I think a lot of people go through life feeling the need to sell themselves as elite.
Yes, they do. I never wanted to be that kind of person. I just wanted to be damn good at every endeavor that I engaged in.
Well, I'm really excited for the book to come out because I think it's, like I said, I have had the pleasure of reading it. I think it's both thought-provoking and often funny and fun to read, and I think people are going to enjoy it. Before I let you go, though, we need to talk about the pets you had growing up as a child.
I'm really glad you bring it up. You know, my mother was a collector of animals. At one time in her life, she had 40 birds. We had a skunk and a duck, and...
How did you have a duck? It wasn't in the house, was it?
Why, yes, it was in the house. In fact, it slept in the bathtub at night, and we loved the duck, and the duck would go out in the front yard and go crazy when an airplane would go over. It would start honking and dashing back and forth on our front yard.
And did you say skunk before?
And we had a skunk named Petunia, and the skunk was great fun. It used to race around the house. In fact, the duck and the skunk were kind of pals, and the skunk would sometimes come in when it wanted food and pull the sheets off of my parents' bed to get them to come and feed her.
It did never spray you, did it?
It never sprayed us. It was neutered.
Excellent. Well, thank you again for sitting down and talking.
It was really a pleasure. Kind of scary, but that's what it's like to have insecurities, is to be saying, I'm up for the game, I can handle all of this.
Yep.
But privately saying, did I do okay?
Right.
Low expectations have defined who I am. And getting beyond them and exceeding my own expectations, the most important thing in my life.
And I think the book will encourage readers to take the same attitude themselves.